Saquon is back. Injuries are starting to kick in. Wide receivers are giving their good return on investment. Some guys broke out. Rookies started to shine. And week one is in the books. Minus the Monday Night Football game, which we're not including here, but we will preview it here. We'll talk about it briefly. But fantasy football is back, and it's crazier than ever. It was a wild week one, and I'm going to review it here with you guys right now. We're talking studs and sucks at each position. We're going to be talking about injuries, going to be breaking it down for you. And again, it's just been another crazy week one. I'm fortunate to have won my weeks, considering Derrick Henry had himself a mediocre, lackluster campaign, to say the least. So I'm excited to dive in because there's so much to talk about, right? After week one, so many question marks already. And I'm going to dive in and try to answer those as best as I can as I'm going through each position. I'm going to start with quarterbacks. I'm going to go running backs, wide receivers, and tight end, and give you a stud and suck at each position. And I want to make this interactive. So if you're listening in the car, head on over to YouTube as well. Check my latest video here, Studs and Sucks Week 1, and leave a comment below on who was a stud for you, who sucked for you, who really crapped the bed, who really upset you. Love to get your feedback. Okay, guys? Now, before I get into this show, guys, if you've not got it, they represent the channel here. Sponsor, manscaped.com. Experience a Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer here. Get it, guys. Try the deodorant. Try the body wash. Try the shampoo. Amazing product. Use Showerline 20 upon checkout. Experience it, guys. That's manscaped.com. Use code SHOWERLION20. Go experience their products. Again, try the shampoo. Try the body wash. Try the deodorant. I don't get your typical, grocery store shampoo or body wash. I go to manscaped.com. I use Showerline 20. Amazing products. Go experience them right now, guys. Pause the video. Head on over. Go treat yourself. Football's back now. You need that dopamine rush. Go get yourself treated right now. Manscaped.com, Showerline 20. All right. Now we're going to dive into this Studs and Sucks Week 1. Let's get to it. All right, we're doing a full review for Fantasy Football Week 1. Excited to dive in each position, give you the studs and sucks at each position. But tonight we've got football. We got Denver at Seattle. That's coming up tonight. And again, I do like a quick review here every single Monday after I do the studs and sucks, or during the studs and sucks, I should say. I'm going to do it right now here. Denver versus Seattle today. Kind of like a mini preview before I start. And then if you guys are waiting on waiver wire, I do that every Tuesday morning, bright and early. So make sure you guys are subscribed here. You don't want to miss it, okay? So we are talking Denver and Seattle. Now, listen, I'm going to be watching this game. I know Denver's going to probably win the game, but anything can happen, right? Any given Monday or Sunday or Thursday in this case, right? So Denver is a 7-point favorite in this one. Russell Wilson coming back. And I'm telling you, if you guys want to enhance that game watching experience, go to mybookie.ag, use code FFC, create an account. I'll leave it right here below, guys. It's going to make the game a little more exciting. So that's the site that I use. So if you've not got it yet, if you're not signed on, that's mybookie.ag. You want to use the code FFC upon sign up. So mybookie.ag, you want to use the promo code FFC. Go create an account, guys. Enhance that game watching experience right now. All right. So Denver, Seattle, 7-point favorite. Denver. Listen, Seattle doesn't have a quarterback, so I'm not really excited about this matchup. I mean, Metcalf could go off. I think Walker should be out this game. Penny should get the start. We're going to see if he could pick up where he left off. There's a chance Walker could start. At the time of recording, it's uncertain, but I don't think he will. I really think Penny gets a start. We're going to have to see how he does against Denver. Now, Russell Wilson reigniting his career here with Denver. The big question going into this game, is it going to be Judy? Is it going to be Sutton? I'm leaning Judy still. We're going to have to find out. We're going to see, because it's very clear and evident with a lot of teams who they're going to. We saw Chase really thrive, right? Obviously, T. Higgins got banged up. We're going to talk about that. Jefferson thrived, obviously a primary target there, and Cooper Kupp. But are they going to be able to maintain that pace, right? They're going to have to they're going to have to distribute the ball better if they want to win, because we saw those teams lose. The Rams, Cooper Kupp all day, and they ended up losing, right? So you got to spread that ball around. A lot of these quarterbacks aren't doing it. Defenses are going to catch on. So a big question mark here is Sutton or Judy. Again, I still think it's Judy. It's going to be interesting to watch and see. We're going to be watching Javonte Williams for a fantasy perspective. And of course, the Seahawks, we're going to see how they do. Again, quarterbacks probably don't have a lot of stock in their quarterback. So again, no guarantees, but I am predicting Denver win this, and they should cover that 7-point spread, even though they're on the road. But this is where Russell Wilson is going to be making a statement. So that's my prediction on the game. Let me know your thoughts on this game, and let's dive into the studs and sucks at each position, all right? Starting with the quarterback position. The number one scorer as of, Sunday games was Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes had himself a great campaign, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Kelsey being a big beneficiary there. I saw McCole Hardman get a touchdown. Pat Mahomes solidifying his spot as a stud fantasy quarterback this week. Josh Allen, and believe it or not, this is a bit of a shocker to me, Carson Wentz stepped up. He really did. Dotson stepped up, okay? I'm actually relatively surprised, but he threw 2 interceptions with that. So 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, still managed to get 27.72 fantasy points, okay? That's pretty impressive. Jalen Hurts had himself an exciting campaign yet as well, but he didn't get it in the touchdowns. He actually ended up getting it in the rushing. He had the 1 rushing touchdown, 90 yards, 17 attempts. Jalen Hurts was getting it done in the ground game, and that's a big problem for me when I look at receivers. With the quarterbacks that run, it's going to be an issue. We're going to talk about wide receiver stats and how A.J. Brown did as well, okay? Justin Herbert crushed it. Jameis Winston crushed it, but then he ended up getting hurt. He got 2 touchdowns. Still had a 21-point game. I wouldn't say crushed it, but had himself a good game. Kyler Murray, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Lamar Jackson, decent campaign as well, getting it done on the ground. Now, Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts, out of the guys mentioned, had a rushing touchdown. So did Marcus Mariota, and finished with 19 points. Now, understand, guys, when these guys have rushing touchdowns, it may or may not happen next week, so maybe they're going to see a decline that next week. That's why I like getting myself that ace quarterback, that Justin Herbert, who anchored on all my rosters, who really carried me this week, and I ended up winning 3 out of my 4 leagues. Well, my 4th league is still undecided, but we're still right now looking really good. 3 out of my 4 big money leagues ended up winning, even with Henry having a bad week. Saquon and Justin Herbert pulled me through. It was an exciting week, all right? Guys that crapped the bed. Actually, I got to mention here, Davis Mills had himself a decent campaign here. 15.5 points, not bad, but he is looking good. I mean, he played the Indy. They ended up being in a tie. Davis Mills looks good. 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I know he overthrew a couple people. He just got to work a little bit on his timing. He's just getting in that groove, but they looked pretty good. Honestly, Davis Mills looked pretty good. Matt Ryan looked like garbage initially, came back, started doing a little bit better, threw an interception. He was 1 for 1, 15-ish points. Safe points, but just to let you know, a guy that I was thinking could be a good backup. Both of these guys as backups did okay. Other guys that really kind of crapped the bed. Let's talk about this here. Stafford had himself a terrible game. A guy that a lot of people invested in when, drafting Stafford, thinking he's going to be the same person as last year. Not the case. Mac Jones ended up getting hurt. I think he went in for x-rays. I don't see the update here. We're going to talk about injuries right after this segment here with quarterbacks. I just want to see if there's any update here on him. All I know is that he went in for x-rays, and I think it's going to be revealed on what's going to happen. I think it was more of a chest x-ray on Mac Jones. I don't see anything here. I'll have to pull it up here, run a Google search. But again, news changes all the time with injuries, so we'll get back to that in a second. Leave a comment if you guys got the update there on Mac Jones. Tom Brady did okay, 10 points. I mean, not really acceptable for people who started Tom Brady. I would say my suck of the week. Let's talk about the suck of the week. And I'm really upset about this guy, like genuinely upset. But I've learned to control my emotions a little bit more. Is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers really, really ticked me off, and he's my suck of the week at quarterback, 3.7 points. This is a guy that, had a good year last year. Pretty solid, right, all year round. And then what ends up happening is he doesn't have Devontae Adams, and I get it. We're all expecting a bit of a decline with Adams gone, but he is stubborn. He is stubborn and just big-time stubborn. Now, he threw that big pass opportunity to Watson. Watson dropped it, and Watson was only targeted, I think, once or twice after that. Okay, the one he caught, and then another one he didn't turn his head in time and missed a pass. So Watson kind of messed up twice. But you got to understand that if you're Aaron Rodgers, this is a rookie, right? This is his first game. You're going to have first game jitters. You're on the biggest stage on the planet. You're in the NFL, right? One of the biggest stages. And it's like, give this guy a break. He dropped the deep ball, but there's got to be some nerves there for sure. Give the guy a break. I just watched this game. It was very, very hard to watch. And honestly, I'm happy he lost. They lost 23-7 because of Aaron Rodgers' ignorance and just his arrogance and his ego. He's like, well, this guy's not catching the ball. I'm not throwing it to him. And it cost him the game. He should have kept going to him until they got into a groove. Instead, he was throwing short passes to A.J. Dillon Aaron Jones getting sacked. It just did not look good. It looked like he was clearly avoiding his wide receivers. He threw a couple to Romeo Doubs I saw there, a couple to his tight end, Tunyon, but you could clearly tell he was just going to his reliable targets, and he was clearly avoiding the wide receivers. Now, what's the outlook for Watson? It doesn't look good unless he starts believing in him and he starts building that rapport, gets a deep ball, builds that trust, and he gets that momentum. But as of right now, guy I was high on because of Aaron Rodgers' ignorance, or I should say ego, is going to suffer now, unfortunately. So Watson's going to suffer because of this, because of the ego. Very, very unfortunate. So, yeah, I would definitely say that Aaron Rodgers is the suck of the week. Injury to Dak Prescott, I believe it was his thumb. He'll have surgery. And I guess it's a clean fracture on his throwing thumb. Timetable is unknown. He will miss at least a month. So people who drafted Dak Prescott, sucks. The guy just can't get it going either. He's had some injuries in the past. He had that big injury remember that one where his leg was flopping around? Oh, man, Dak just can't get it going, man. The Cowboys didn't look too good at all. So I would say Aaron Rodgers is my suck of the week. What do you have? 3.7 points as a guy. Could have done better. Just absolutely crap the bed. Honorable mention, Tom Brady, Mac Jones, Stafford, Dak Prescott getting hurt. Those are kind of your sucks of the week. And you got to give it to Josh Allen, Herbert, Pat Mahomes, Hurts, and Carson Wentz, believe it or not. All right? Those are your quarterbacks. Let's move on here to running backs. Before I do, let's talk quickly about injuries here. Keenan Allen was out here with a hamstring. Now, they indicate after week 1 that it was a hamstring, but it was not bad. So he might be good to go. Might be good to go on Thursday, September 15th versus the Chiefs. Going to be something to watch here for Keenan Allen, okay? Kadarius Toney, we don't need a note on that. I just have a note here. Never mind. Ignore that one. It just says Kadarius Toney played 7 offensive snaps against the Titans. A guy that I wasn't really high on, Kadarius Toney. I just had a note here to talk about that, but it wasn't that important, okay? Obviously, there's another note here I've got, because I got a bunch of notes mixed in here with my injuries, but just a quick fact here, guys, and I want to do my victory lap here, and I'm going to running backs. Saquon Barkley rushed 18 times for 164 yards and a touchdown, caught 6 passes for 30 yards in a 21-20 win over the Tennessee Titans. I'm telling you, man, Saquon Barkley, he's back. Improved O-line contract year. I've been telling you this. Now everybody in the Chiefs are going to be jumping on him, okay? It's crazy. Here's the Mac Jones thing. Okay, he suffered a back injury during week 1, was scheduled to undergo x-rays after the game. That's the last thing I've got on him. We're going to have to see how that goes. Najee Harris, it was his foot injury. Apparently it's not serious. He should be good to go next week. That's a sigh of relief, okay? That's a huge sigh of relief for Najee Harris. Those are kind of like the key injuries here. Godwin had a hamstring thing that bothered him week 1 as well, something to be aware of. So, guys, keep an eye on this stuff. Elijah Mitchell, I don't know the seriousness of this, but his left knee got messed up as well. Be aware of that. T. Higgins as well, concussion. He was ruled out in that game, a guy that everyone spent a 3rd-round pick on. I told you to avoid him, not because of injury, but now injury has played a factor, and I was right either way. But Higgins also during week 1 had a concussion. So those are some key injuries to look at. The only one that seems kind of serious, maybe the Mac Jones and the Elijah Mitchell, and he's had his share of injuries in the past. All right, we're moving on to running backs. The stud of the week, guys. Let's talk about it. It's Saquon Barkley. I had to do the round of applause there for Saquon Barkley. Jonathan Taylor also looking really consistent. Now, if this is crazy, Saquon had 33 points, fantasy PPR, and Taylor had 27.5, okay? 33.4 to 27.5. From an attempt standpoint, Taylor had more. Taylor actually ended up having 31 attempts, which is phenomenal, led in attempts. Saquon only had 18, and he rushed for more yards, 164 to 161, 9.1 yards per carry to 5.2 to Taylor. They both had a rushing touchdown, and that's pretty remarkable by Saquon Barkley here. So when you're looking at this, this is something to monitor on who's going to finish if they maintain this pace. I don't know if Jonathan Taylor is going to maintain that pace. It was very intense. The handoffs from Matt Ryan all day. Something to watch there, but very impressive. Jonathan Taylor definitely returning his return on investment. Saquon Barkley as well as a second-round pick, late first. Very, very nice week 1. DeAndre Swift, I got to eat crow on this one. You win some, you lose some. DeAndre Swift had himself a good game, finishing third as of Sunday's games, guys, in fantasy points, 26.5. Kareem Hunt, guys, I keep telling you, man, Kareem Hunt is better than Nick Chubb, yet Nick Chubb is always higher in the rankings. Kareem Hunt, right, 23 points, had himself a good campaign. Cordarrelle Patterson, again, starting to pick up where he left off earlier in the season last year. Kind of fell off near the end of the season, had himself a good game, 22.6. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Wow, Clyde Edwards-Helaire showing up. Is he going to stay on the field? Is that going to stay consistent? I highly doubt it, but he finished with 22.4 points. Now, this is where I get a little pissed off. Dontrell Hilliard. Dontrell Hilliard. Who is this guy? I have no idea who he is, nor do I. I want to be ignorant to this guy. I don't want to know who he is. I'm hoping he gets cut from the team. Actually ended up with 21.9 points. This is ludicrous. Now, he only had, 8 yards, but I believe it was the 2 receiving touchdowns what made him. That's the thing that bothers me, right? So they used him near the goal line, and he just ended up winning. He ended up beating Derrick Henry in fantasy points, which is crazy. Derrick Henry had himself a boring game. But Dontrell Hilliard, now you're going to say waiver wire week 1. Do I pick him up? If you're desperate for a running back, I'm a Henry owner. I'm not touching him, nor do I care. Because, again, I just think that's bad karma to pick up your backup. I'm just not doing it. I'm a Henry believer, and I'm just thinking this is a 1-week wonder for Hilliard. Because I've never heard, nobody talks about him. No, he doesn't even, how long has this guy been in the league? He's been in the league since 2018. I've never heard of him. I've never heard of this. Well, Joe, I know football better than anybody. There's nobody that knows fantasy better than me, and I'm going to be completely ignorant to this guy. I don't know who he is, nor do I care. Let's move on here. That was a 1-week wonder. He got lucky. That was the game of his life. In fact, let me pull this up here. This guy, his career, he had 350 rushing yards last year, 2 touchdowns, but Henry was banged up. Even with Henry gone, he only had 2 rushing touchdowns on the season, so he's just a non-factor. He's 27 years old, drafted in 2018. Not concerned about Dontrell Hilliard, if you guys are asking me. Joe Mixon had a good game. A.J. Dillon. We talked about this, guys. A.J. Dillon is the RB1, and everyone's drafting Aaron Jones. Now, where did Aaron Jones finish here? I got to pull this up here. I don't even have Aaron Jones. Let me just do a cross-examination of both these guys. Now, again, let's talk about this. Everybody told you to draft Aaron Jones round 2, right? Attempts, A.J. Dillon, 10. Aaron Jones, 5. 1 touchdown to A.J. Dillon, 0 for Aaron Jones. Fantasy points difference in PPR, 20.1 to 10.6 in favor of A.J. Dillon. So, where are all those Aaron Jones owners? How is that going to work out for you guys if this continues? Now, this was a pace, and something I emphasize on all my shows. So I'm looking at it. I'm seeing A.J. Dillon as the one. This is a huge mistake by the Kinshipses, and I was warning people about this, but people are like, no, I'm going to draft Aaron Jones because that's what the Kinshipses say. Let's see if this maintains. Let's see who wins at the end. I'm going to say that Dillon wins, okay? Another thing that really upset me here is Michael Carter. Let's talk about this. Michael Carter had the 10 attempts, 60 yards, 17 fantasy points. Again, similar situation there. Breece Hall just didn't get it done. They're just starting Michael Carter. I don't get it. I'm happy they lost. And if they want to continue to lose, they're going to keep doing stupid stuff like starting Joe Flacco, which, again, they have no choice. Zach's hurt, right? I don't care. Breece Hall had 6 attempts, didn't look good, 3.8 yards per carry. But you guys are not instilling confidence in your guy. You drafted him in the second round, and you're benching him for Michael Carter, who only had 10 attempts anyway, right? It just, I don't know, man, it's just a messy situation, but definitely this could be a mistake drafting Breece Hall because the Jets can't be trusted. I knew the Jets couldn't be trusted. The only reason I liked Breece Hall, and again, I'm not trying to make excuses, is that he was a top prospect coming out of this draft, and they moved up to get him, right? Like, common sense and logic from a normal team would say, hey, we're investing high draft capital in him when we definitely need other positions like quarterback because Wilson's not proven, and now they're looking at starting Flacco. And even though the quarterback class wasn't good, either way, it's like you draft Breece Hall and then you bench him. It's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Let's keep going here. Sucks of the week. I got, again, another victory lap here. You're looking at Travis Etienne, another Kinshipses pick, drafted So we got Nick Chubb kind of busting. We have, Aaron Jones busting, finishing with 10 points, 28th amongst running backs here. And Travis Etienne finishing, 34th amongst running backs here, 8.5 points. I mean, this is a guy everyone drafted as their RB1. If they told you zero RB, like, yeah, grab Travis Etienne. If you watched him, he dropped the ball, he got smoked, he fumbled the ball. Like, he did not look NFL ready at all. James Robinson, on the other hand, did look ready. Senior guy, looked pretty good, at 19.9 fantasy points and a rushing touchdown. So at the end of the day, man, and he had a receiving touchdown too, James Robinson. So, hey, man, you guys drafted Travis Etienne when they got James Robinson, who's the RB1. Another big mistake. Another guy that sucked, guys. Your precious Austin Eckler. You guys are ripping me on Derrick Henry, who had a mediocre game. Eckler, Etienne, Aaron Jones, Dalvin Cook busted. Dalvin Cook had 13.8 points. Mediocre game. I wouldn't say busted. By the way, Isaiah Pacheco, 12.2 points, beat Austin Eckler, 11.2 points. All right. Najee Harris crapped the bed. I'll take ownership on that. 10.6 points, but he got hurt. Apparently, again, like I said, not too hurt, not too bad. I would say the suck of the week. There's a lot, man. Zeke Elliott crapped the bed, 5.9 points. Not good. But again, the Cowboys played terrible as a whole, so that's something to keep an eye on. 10 attempts for Zeke Elliott. So that's something to monitor there as well. So again, just a weird week to some degree, but a lot of my guys went off. Saquon Barkley's of the world, Jonathan Taylor, another guy said, you got to draft. James Robinson had a good week. Christian McCaffrey crapped the bed too. I actually had a mediocre game, 15.7 points, finished 16th amongst running backs at the time of this recording for the Monday. So yeah, I would say ATN, Zeke, all sucks of the week awards. Devin Singletary sucked. What do you have? 8.2 points. Again, let me just see if there's anyone else here. Eckler, again, big letdown. And I would say Cam Akers probably. You got to give it to Cam Akers. You always kind of forget about that Thursday game, but Cam Akers also a suck of the week. Let's move on here. Let's wrap up tight end, and we'll go back to wide receiver and wrap that up there. Again, if you're new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe, sit down, buckle up. We're going to walk through some tight ends here and go through these studs and sucks. So Travis Kelce, O.J. Howard, a guy I ended up picking up because I believe in Davis Mills, ended up getting 2 touchdowns. So he's going to be a week 1 waiver wire for sure. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. I've got him already. You always got to think 5 steps ahead, right? Is that going to be consistent? Probably not. We're going to see. Maybe he's going to be a reliable target for Davis Mills. Not sure. Going to be something to watch. Taysom Hill, you can plug in as a tight end, has 15.3 points. Gerald Everett and Dalton Schultz round out the top 5. All right. Now, who crapped the bed here? I'm trying to see Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts was the guy that crapped the bed, 3.9 points. Now, a lot of people ripping on me for being high on Drake London. Drake London actually beat Kyle Pitts in fantasy. I think he had like 12 or 14 points, something like that. Kyle Pitts, crapped the bed, 3rd round pick. So David Njoku, another guy, continuing on with crapping the bed, 1.7 points. Very, very unacceptable. Mike Gesicki, 1.1 points. That's pretty disgusting for a guy who was drafted in later rounds, but we expected more out of him. Cole Kmet had 0 points. I'm not sure what happened there. Was he just not targeted? I wasn't watching that game. Looks like he had 1 target, but just nothing happened. Just Cole Kmet, big time let down. I would say Gesicki and Cole Kmet. I would probably give an honorable mention to Njoku and Kyle Pitts with 3.9 points for Kyle Pitts. That's pretty disgusting, man, a tight end. All right, wide receiver. Now, this is where I was a bit wrong if this continues. Devontae Adams showing up, 30.1 points, targeted 17 times, 10 receptions. So it looks like he's going to be force-fed. Now, this was week 1. Okay, let me just talk about this. Let's take a look at the target count, right? 17 for Adams, 16 for Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp 15, Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman looked good. 13, A.J. Brown 13, Amon-Ra St. Brown 12, all right? So Jefferson had only 11, but he had the 2 receiving touchdowns. And he had a lot of yards, right? So Jefferson did really, really good from a fantasy perspective, right? He was number 1, 39.4 points. So now, we haven't talked about the Monday game. Maybe Sutton or Judy step in here, put up some points, maybe a Metcalf. I doubt it. But the top 5 are Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, Michael Pittman, and Stephon Diggs, and A.J. Brown. And then Michael Thomas comes in at 8, and then you got Devin Duvernay, 9, and Robbie Anderson cracking the top 10, who was a big-time sleeper. I mentioned he was a sleeper, right? Robbie Anderson, who, again, is in a situation where he's finally got the best quarterback he's ever had, arguably. So I'm looking at this now, and I'm thinking, okay, they all had great weeks. Cooper Kupp was targeted a lot, Adams, but the defenses are just kind of figuring stuff out. they're going to plan for these guys next week. So expect more volume for Allen Robinson. Expect more volume for Adam Thielen. Expect more volume for Darren Waller and Renfro. But if this continues at this pace, which I don't see it doing, these guys are going to have astronomical numbers. And yeah, wide receiver would have probably been a great way to go. But week one is week one. That being said, I think we're pretty fair because Taylor and Barkley had themselves phenomenal weeks, and I'd rather secure that most scarce position. So this is going to be a battle of great wide receivers versus great running backs, and everybody pretty much returning that return on investment. Now, Tyreek Hill didn't have the greatest game. What do you have? Like 18 points-ish. He was finished 16th amongst wide receivers, targeted 12 times. So Waddle actually finished just beneath him with 17.7 points, right? And he was drafted a couple rounds later. Christian Kirk, good return on investment. The point I'm trying to make here is Amon-Ra St. Brown, who was drafted in the 5th round, beat Tyreek Hill, beat Mike Evans, beat Waddle, beat a bunch of guys that were drafted ahead of him. So that's something to keep an eye on here. Deebo Samuel finished 30th amongst wide receivers in fantasy points, drafted in the 2nd round. So we're going to have to see how this goes, but as of right now, Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Adams, Jamar Chase, Pittman, Diggs, all returning their investment. Tyreek Hill, not so much. Mike Evans, not so much. Deebo Samuel, not so much. But we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see a trend of 4 to 5 weeks to kind of see how this all fizzles out. So, start of the week, obviously, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Adams crushed it. Now, let's take a look at the suck of the week at wide receiver. And I got to go Deebo Samuel at 12.6 points. That's relatively unacceptable. Keenan Allen got banged up, 10.6 points. I'm trying to see if there's anyone else that jumped as a suck of the week. DJ Moore, I mean, this is a guy I've been telling you to avoid for years. 6 points. Or sorry, 8 points. I apologize. 8 points. CeeDee Lamb and T. Higgins. CeeDee Lamb, 4.9 points, drafted in the 2nd round. Again, Cowboys, suck in the bed. I'm going to have to go. Unless I'm missing somebody, guys, leave a comment below. I'm trying to see if there's another one. I got to go with T. Higgins, but he got hurt. He's a crap of the week. Amari Cooper, crap to bed. He's a suck of the week. I would have to go with CeeDee Lamb, 4.9 points. Again, that really falls on the weight of the quarterback and that offense this week. But I'm going to go here and go CeeDee Lamb. Christian Watson, who was ranked 70th on rankings, finished with more points than CeeDee Lamb. That's really, really bad. And then when you look at, put it in perspective, Deebo Samuel, 12.6 points. Corey Davis beat him. Tyler Boyd came in and beat him. Sterling Shepard beat him. DJ Chark. DeAndre Carter beat him. Los Angeles Chargers, right? He's going to probably step up now with Allen being bagged up. We're going to see how that goes. I don't think it's that serious, right? Dotson, right? Landry, Gabe Davis. All these guys beat Deebo Samuel. So wide receiver, extremely volatile, extremely wide open. This is, again, showing that you can wait on wide receiver, get value, and still get amazing fantasy output, all right? So, yeah, I'd have to go CeeDee Lamb there as a suck of the week at wide receiver. And, again, at quarterback, I cannot get over Aaron Rodgers and his ego not targeting his young receivers and just going and playing it safe and then getting crushed. Just pretend Watson is Adams and just throw it to him 30 times. Maybe he catches it 20 out of those 30 times. That's fine. You're still going to move down the field. You're going to lose a couple downs on the drops, but at least move the ball forward. And that's ego getting in the way there, okay? So that's NFL Week 1 fantasy football review, guys, studs and sucks. And again, I touched a little bit on Week 1 waiver wire. I gave you a couple names in there, but I'll do a show specifically for tomorrow, all right, guys? Again, fantasy's in full force. I'm excited. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Drop a comment below. Who's your stud and suck of the week? Love to get your feedback. I appreciate you guys. Leave a thumbs up. And, of course, go to manscaped.com. Use code ShowerLion20 and treat yourself. I appreciate you. It's been a crazy Week 1. I'm going to keep the content coming. Follow on socials for my crazy antics. It's going to be a lot of fun. And let's go Saquon Barkley, the kid sheeps through wrong again. I'm out.